Hello, everyone. Today we're going to be following up on our automated portfolio. From the last episode, you may remember that we created this portfolio with the intent to follow it for 1 month. So, what we have seen now is that the automated system that we created to choose the portfolio for us based on sector subdivisions has been able to give us a 3.21% growth since we bought the portfolio on February 13th. We were to compare that to other markets, like for example the Nasdaq Composite, we see that our portfolio is performing better. So what does that mean? That means that the stocks that we chose have been going up since we purchased them. Now you might see here that this kind of looks like a ladder. That's because we also implemented a 3% drop. So whenever there was a asset within the portfolio that dropped by more than 3% from the peak, we basically sold that asset, right? And we have an automatic system to do that for us. And this would be the stocks that sold. Now, this means that throughout the life of the portfolio, we basically let go of approximately 140,000 or $143,000 worth of assets because they were no longer where we wanted them to be. And as we see here, PLPC, which was one of the assets that we started with, has already dropped by more than 5.7%. And although some of the assets have recovered, we don't really want to take those risks. So what we do is we sell the assets when it has the 3% drop from the peak and we repurpose those assets. So for example, here, we ended up buying $12,000 worth of PAC, and this happened when UAL dropped by more than 3%. And the reason why we did that is because PAC was already higher than UAL. And to me, that tells me that I want to reward my winners and I want to punish my losers, right? So at that point, UAL was performing worse than PAC. So I went ahead and sold it, or the automatic system sold it. And the assets that were left over were repurposed to buy PAC. And as you can see, this gave us a 3% increase from February 19th. So this was obviously a good choice. We've done this a couple of times. So if we look here at some of the ones that also show 200, this is because we had one asset. Once the asset dropped by more than 3%, we bought more of another asset within the same portfolio, within the same group. And what this does is it allows us to rebalance our portfolio, but stay within the sector diversification. So the overall reward for this is that we see that all the assets that we keep are in the positive. The ones that we let go show zero because they're no longer part of the portfolio. And we do have a few that are losing, like SW or ZWS. We see here that this is dropping by 0.53% from the time of purchase on February 18th, which is one of the assets that we bought after another asset exited, right? Now, this one is not performing on the positive, but it's also not 3% negative. So we are taking a chance on ZWS and we're going to see how well it performs. So one of the things that we can do is we can look and see how this company has performed over time. So if we look at 1 year gain, we see that it has steadily been growing. And if we look at the portfolio fundamentals, we see that this has very, very good fundamentals to lean back on, except for cash from investing and cash from financing. So this is the net cash used or generated in financing activities such as dividend or payments. That basically means that they pay dividends. Okay. Based on that, what we can say is that we have a very strong portfolio that since February 13th has generated $15,649 in earnings, which is equivalent to 3.21%. And if we were to compare this to, say, one of these other ones, like the Dow Jones Industrial, the Dow Jones has only given us 0.54% within the same time span. So this tells us that the portfolio is performing better. Now we're going to continue to follow this portfolio until the end of the month, and we're going to see how much this set of assets have earned within 1 month period. Thank you for watching.